Okay, looks like we are live, everybody. Hi, and welcome to Dr. Selfridge live stream. We're back. Been off a couple of weeks, but I'm very excited to be back. It's March 10th. Hard to believe we're that quickly into March. But if you are joining us for the first time, my name is Dr. Selfridge, and at our live stream, we just kind of hang out for an hour. I have some instruments, excuse me, that I can play. And we take your musical questions, and we focus a lot on, we have a lot of students who are just starting to play their instruments, maybe students who have been playing, folks who have been playing for a short amount of time, or maybe just beginning, or maybe even playing for a while and just looking for something new to try and ask about. So we usually have some great questions on the live stream. We've got things like asking about how to play notes on your instrument, or how to play certain songs, and you can request me to play a song. That's always fun. Today with me, I've got, what do I have with me today? I have this instrument, which is a lot of fun, a melodica, which is like a piano that you can blow into here, and it kind of sounds like sort of like a harmonica type thing, where you can play the keys of a piano. So I like to use that sometimes for some to help me figure out some songs or demonstrate something. I also have my flute. I've got my alto sax here. I have my clarinet here. I did a lot of playing flute and clarinet this weekend. This whole past week, actually, I was in the pit orchestra for our high school spring musical. It was a lot of fun. We did, what did we do? Beauty and the Beast, which is a really nice musical. It's a bit of a challenge for the musicians in the pit orchestra. I think I've probably talked about how pit orchestras work. Actually, I'm looking in the chat here, and I see that Shane has jumped in the chat. Hi, Shane. And looks like Shane is renting a tenor sax to play in Grease the musical. That is quite a coincidence. First of all, that's cool. I'm sure you're rocking the tenor sax because I know what a talented clarinetist you are. And when you switch from clarinet to tenor sax, as you probably already know, Shane, the fingerings on the tenor sax are the same, pretty much identical to the upper register of the clarinet. The only other adjustment when you're switching from clarinet to tenor sax, which I'm sure, Shane, you've been working on, is the embouchure is a little different, and we can talk about that a little bit if you have any questions about that, or people might be curious. When you're switching from clarinet to tenor sax, there's slight changes in how you do the embouchure. But the coincidence is that last semester, at our high school, we have a very active theater program, musical theater program. They do 2 shows a year, which is cool. And in the fall, we did Grease, the musical, just like Shane, just like you all are doing. I actually didn't play in that. Usually in the fall musical, we have a lot of students. We had a lot of students in Beauty and the Beast this past week in the pit. But in the fall, in particular, I'm not able to play in the pit because I'm busy with commitments with our marching band and things like that. But in the spring, I love to play in the pit orchestra. I played the Reed, what did I play? Reed 3, which is flute, clarinet, and some bass clarinet as well. So that was fun. So Shane, let me know how your tenor sax is going, okay? And let me know anything else that's going on with you. Jacqueline is here. And hello. Hi, Jacqueline. Jacqueline plays clarinet and flute and is here just about every show. We love having Jacqueline here. Jacqueline, if you have any question or requests, let me know. We're off to a bit of a slow start here with the chat, but that's fine. We have our friend here, Pug Channel, with another request, which I can try to get to. Wow, that looks kind of interesting. Shrek is the Legend / official Pug Channel always has some really great requests that are usually pretty challenging for me. Let me check this one out. While I'm checking that out, Jacqueline, I do have a soprano sax. It just so happens that today it's not in my studio. I have it elsewhere in my house, but I don't have it with me in the studio. But I can try to make sure I bring that next time. Play a song or two on the soprano sax. So this request that Pug Channel has, there it is. Now, let's see. By Zanka, here's the request. Zanka Uraganu. I see it here. The question is, if you could let me know, you know what, Pug Channel, let me know specifically what spot in the song you'd like me to play. Can you get like sort of a timestamp that you'd like me to play? Okay, so in the meantime, we have some more questions coming in. Zavolian is checking in. Hello to you. Thanks. Good to see you again. This question from, I can't quite read your, Vexel? Is it Vexel 13? First of all, I want to know how you get that cool font on your username. I don't know how to do that because I'm not young and hip. I don't know how to do that stuff. How do you do slurs and sound good? So, Vexel, if you could let me know specifically what instrument you're asking about, I will show you on clarinet. I'll show you on clarinet. I played a lot of clarinet this week, as I was saying, in Beauty and the Beast, and it was pretty... I was like practicing a lot to like get that music down. The music was not easy. I don't know if anyone here has ever either if you ever gone to see a Broadway musical, or have you ever played in a Broadway in a pit orchestra? The music is actually really challenging. Leonardo is checking in. Hey Leonardo, that's okay. We've been off for a couple of weeks, so Leonardo, if you can check in when you're able to, that's always great. And I see Vexel is checking in here about the trumpet. Okay, I happen to have a trumpet here. So slurs on the trumpet. First, I got to get warmed up. I'm not warmed up at all on the trumpet. So how do we warm up? We play long notes. We play long notes and make sure we're getting a good tone. I'm doing something right now called lip slurs, which is when you just play a long note on the trumpet and you just use your aperture, your embouchure, your tongue, your airstream to change the highness or lowness of the pitch that you get. You just try to get it to be as smooth as possible. Okay, so now my lips are feeling a little bit ready to play the trumpet. Let's talk about slurs. So, a slur on a wind instrument, it's different on a string instrument. On a string instrument, when you see a slur, it means to play two notes on the same bow stroke. So, down bow, up bow. You know, if there's a slur, they want you to play all the notes in the same bow motion. On a wind instrument, okay, what you have to do is basically, a slur means don't break the airstream with your tongue. So normally, normal notes on any wind instrument. So a wind instrument is any instrument that you use your air to make a sound with. Clarinet, trumpet, bassoon, oboe, French horn, trombone, tuba, saxophone, all of them. Normally, if you just see, let's just say we see 4 quarter notes that go do, re, mi, fa. So let's say we're doing C, D, E, F. We would normally put a T at the beginning of each one with our air. Ta, 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 ta. Or some teachers like to use the syllable tu because it's like the air is going. So that would be regular tongue notes. Here's a C. Do you hear each one was ta, 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 ta? That is normal, what we call default. Like whenever you see notes, that's what you do. But if on the music there is a curved line starting at the bottom at the first note and continuing, all of the notes that are under that umbrella of the curved line, that means you tongue the first note and your air stream just goes through all 4 notes, but you don't put a ta on any of the other notes. So instead of ta, 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 I'm going to go this way because this is the way you would read music, right? So ta, 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 you go ta. You still play the notes in the right rhythm with your fingers. Let me show you. So now this is ta, slurred. Ta the first note, slur the other ones. So literally all you have to do, what's my friend's name here? Vexel, is you literally just keep your airstream flowing steady and completely unbroken. Don't move your tongue at all, and just move your fingers in the tempo of whatever notes you're trying to play, whether it's fast or slow. So maybe we're going from, I don't know, E to G, back and forth. We could tongue it like this. Ta, ta, or if it's marked slur, and your fingers do all the work, and your airstream. Okay? Cool. Let me know if that made sense to you, okay? Unless you were asking specifically about lip slurs, which is what I started off talking about. So I don't know if maybe that was what you were asking about. Lip slurs on brass instruments are a different thing. It's well, it's kind of a similar thing. It's the thing I was starting with at the beginning when I was warming up on my open note. It's trying to get a smooth transition between the upper and lower partials. Okay. Leonardo is running late because he's going to go walk his dogs. You got to walk the dogs. You got to. All right. They need their fresh air. Okay, Christopher. I've seen clarinetists use their clarinet embouchure on a sax, and it sounds better than players who started on the sax. Okay, this is a valid point. There are schools of thought that you should start. This is more of an old school way of thinking that like every student who wants to play sax should start on clarinet because it's harder. It kind of is. And honestly, clarinet is kind of harder to start on because it's a little bit, how should I say, less forgiving with the embouchure. Your embouchure really has to be right to get a good sound. And also the fingers are less forgiving for a beginner because you've got open holes. So your fingers really have to be on point and like covering the holes or it won't work. Versus a saxophone, they don't have open holes. So if you just kind of get your finger on the right key and press it down, it'll pretty much work. So anyway, but it is also important to remember whether you are a clarinet player switching to sax, or if you're a sax player switching to clarinet, you have to adjust your embouchure accordingly. So both embouchures will work. Like a sax embouchure will work on a clarinet, and a clarinet embouchure will work on a sax, but they won't sound their best. The main difference is, on a clarinet, we want our bottom lip to be smooth and flat against the teeth. So you make sort of like a whee embouchure, where your corners are really firm, smooth bottom lip, and then the reed goes on that smooth bottom lip. And you know what? Our friend Shane is quite an accomplished clarinetist. So Shane, feel free to chime in on your thoughts about saxophone versus clarinet embouchure. This is the way I teach it and the way I play it. Versus when you switch, if you want to play a saxophone, we should not be thinking about a smooth bottom lip against the teeth. We should be thinking about an O shape, because for me, the saxophone is more of a controlling the sides, more of like making an O shape around the mouthpiece, where your embouchure is kind of like a U, like this, right? So you're really controlling the mouthpiece here, and the top lip just kind of sits there to keep the air from leaking out. So O, and we have lines in our bottom lip. on the saxophone, if you're too much like this, you're going to really deaden the reed too much, and it's not going to work as well as you want it to. Oh, the other important thing is a clarinet. Here, I'll take the neck off so I can show you. Hopefully this is helpful for some people, or interesting at least. The clarinet should be coming out of your mouth at an angle, like kind of like, it's not 45 degrees, it's like somewhere in this kind of angle. A saxophone should be straight out. So one mistake that sometimes folks do is they try to play a saxophone like a clarinet down like this, and that doesn't work so well. So those are the main things about switching between embouchures. So let's see. Oh, good. That's awesome. Vexel, I'm glad that helped you. Leonardo, an E major scale on the trumpet. Okay, you guys are testing my trumpet chops today. But when I just warmed up there, I felt pretty good. So I feel like I can play some trumpet today. We've talked about this, that every music teacher has a sort of primary instrument. Mine are woodwinds, although I do like to play the brass instruments, but I don't practice them every day, so I don't have the muscle strength that you need to have to really play them well. If you really want to be good at the trumpet, you got to practice it every day to build up the muscles. Okay, so E major scale. Here's how we're going to do an E major scale on the trumpet, everybody. Oh, look at this. I can kind of go here. I'm going to do my fancy overhead cam. Watch this. Ready? Isn't that cool? And there I am up in the corner. So E major scale on the trumpet. So in E, we have 4 sharps in the E major scale. There's 4 sharps. But we always have to play a scale in alphabetical order. It's got to go E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. The notes that are going to get sharped in a key signature, it's F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. That's how they always appear. In the order of the scale, we're going to encounter them in alphabetical order like this. So we have E, F sharp. What's easier for you all to see? Maybe if I hold it like this. All right, E is 1 and 2. F sharp is 2. G sharp, 2 and 3. A, 1 and 2. B, second valve. C sharp, 1 and 2. D sharp, second valve. And E is open. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you, okay? All right, there's our E. That would be quarter notes. That's a good way to start learning a scale. And then after you have the notes of the scale sort of in your dexterity of your fingers, we practice them. A lot of times we want to play a scale in the rhythm of da, 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 da. So it's quarter, eighth, 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 quarter, bum, 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 bum. See if I can do that. And that was tongued. I went ta, ti, 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 ta. You could also try slurring it, which might be a little bit harder for me to get up to the high notes, but let's try. Huh. So that was completely slurred. A lot of times on auditions for instruments, if you're trying to audition for to be accepted into some sort of ensemble or maybe to be in an honor band of some kind, they want you to play scales both tongued and slurred. So it's good to learn both. Ta, ti, 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 ta, ti, 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 ta. That would be tongued. Ta would be slurred. Okay. Now, Heather is requesting Old Town, Downtown. Now, I read that, when I first saw that, I read that as Old Town Road. Downtown. Like, is that like the old song? Downtown. Da, 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 da. Is that the one you mean? Or is there like a newer song by that name? I'm going to look this up. Downtown. I might need an artist name. Downtown sheet music. Let's see what I get. Petula Clark. Is that what it is? Da 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 da. Downtown. You know, I'm gonna, before I do this one, I'm gonna wait and see. Heather, if you could chime back in and let me know if that's the one that you mean. Like, by which, is that the one you want me to play? That older song? Sometimes newer songs can have the same name, like that John Legend song, "All of Me." Very popular song that came out maybe like 8 years ago, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. There's also a really old jazz standard by the same name. So anyway, let's see here. Zavolian. Oh, you know what? Heather just chimed in and said that, yes, that's it. So let me try it. So what I'm going to do, as I always sort of tell you all, is when I have a request, I search for the name of the song plus the word sheet music. Sometimes I can search for the word play along. Like someone requested Zavolian. I'm going to get to your request next. The Clarified YouTube channel doing a play along for What Was I Made For? You guys hear that beeping? That's my dryer. My clothes are done. It's loud. All right. Downtown on flute. So I searched for it. Oh, I have many different songs going here. All right. So this is what I have. Check it out. Let me go split screen here. So I'm going to put my little picture up in the corner here so you can see me, but I know it blocks some of the music. Let's see. This is C instruments. Did you say... Oh, on flute. Perfect. I'm going to play it on flute. I can even put a little bit of echo. Sounds nice. Okay. I'm going to start this one again. Check, check, check. I'll start this one again. Here we go. There it is. Oh, cool. Nice. And that's a fun song. You know what? If any, those of you, I should say, those of you who watch my live streams, you'll know that like when we do these play along tracks, sometimes I will comment on the fact that some play along videos switch the screen right when the new music is coming, so I can't see what's coming, and so I sometimes make little mistakes. But this one does a really awesome thing. Look what happened right here. Right when I got here, I was down here towards the end of the page, and it gave me a preview up here of what was coming next. That's so important because, you know, this is actually a really important thing for folks to know if you're trying to get better at the skill of sight reading. So do we know what sight reading is? It's when you are handed a brand new piece of music that you've never seen before, and it's the level of skill that different musicians have as you get better and better, the ability to take a brand new piece of music that you've never played before or practiced and play it. Some people can play it perfectly the first time they see it, and that's a skill that you build up over time. And one of the most important things for sight reading is that your eyes shouldn't just be looking at the exact note that you're playing. I think a lot of students, when they're first learning how to play their instruments, they start by just concentrating on the note that's right in front of them that they have to play right now on this beat. And then the next beat comes and we look at the next beat. And the next beat comes and we look at the next beat. And then we have trouble because we're constantly playing at a very choppy stop-start tempo because our brain is thinking one thing at a time. Here's the note that's now, here's the note that's now. But the secret to playing music with a flowing tempo and keeping the tempo moving and playing with good sight reading is that your eyes are constantly looking at what you're playing right now, but constantly glancing ahead to see what's coming next. So it's just a constant motion, and especially if you're playing with a conductor, it's like a three-step process because you're looking at the note of the moment, you're looking at what's coming next, you're glancing up at the conductor, so it's like boom, bing, bang, up, down, over. And that might sound a little bit hectic to someone who is just getting started, but really it becomes an instinctual thing where you get used to looking ahead and your brain's like, okay, I can see what's coming. And your short-term instant memory is taking care of the note that you're playing right now, but at the same time, your eyes are looking ahead at what's coming, and it becomes a very intricate sort of ballet that your brain and your eyes and your fingers can do all together. But it takes practice. So if you're going to practice sight reading, you can't start practicing sight reading with music that's very difficult for you. You should actually start practicing sight reading with music that is a step easier than what you're used to playing. If you feel like you need to work on sight reading, pick music that is a step or two easier than what you could play with practice. Pick an easier piece of music and see if you can study that music and then play it as correctly as possible the very first time you try it. And that's called sight reading. It's a super important skill. Okay, so next, that was my little speech about sight reading. Okay, I'm going to go do Zavolian's request. Do I have any questions in the chat? I'm going to do another request here, but I want to see if I have any instrument questions. Leonardo, I know that a slur can really help if a flute player wants to play a note to the next note. It means a slur. Well, a slur really is indicated by the notation of the sheet music. Unless you're just playing something on your own, you're going to put a slur in. But a slur is when the sheet music has a curved line connecting several notes, and it's intended to be played without tonguing any of the notes that are under the curved line. Tongue the first note and just move your fingers. Don't tongue each note. Okay. Hi, Henry. Welcome. It seems like you might be a new person here, so welcome to the show. I'm going to answer your question in a sec. I want to get back to Zavolian, who I promised I would play. So there's a great channel called Clarified. What was I made for? The Barbie song. Billie Eilish, right? Here we go. So if you look at the channel here, this is Clarified. There we go. So Zavolian, I'm going to take your comment down just so we can see. Okay, Clarified is a really great channel. Lots of great play-along tracks to learn some fun songs. When you click on their tutorial, at the beginning, the first run-through that they do, they label it as a tutorial, and I'm going to show you. They actually it's a slower tempo, and they show you all the notes, kind of like Guitar Hero style, where you can see which keys to press down. It's interesting. It's kind of a cool thing. I really am curious how they do this animation. But here is the slow practice version. See how it's a nice relaxed tempo. So what I'm going to do is to play the song for you. I'm going to skip to this part that says play along. And it's going to be faster. I'm going to move my microphone a little bit. Here we go. Let's try it. I'm going to play it for you. Okay, hold on, pause. So you can see what happens. My clarinet was just a little bit, let me show you this real quick. I'm going to start again. That's a really pretty song. But you see my clarinet is just slightly, it's not quite lined up here. That's my fault. I'm just going to turn this a little bit. And just that little bit of turn that I just did, that was causing that weird note in when I tried to play the song. So something that small can really affect how your instrument works. Take 2. Here we go. Okay, that's a pretty song. Very nice. And like my tutorials when I teach how to play different songs, this tutorial on Clarified, it's not the whole entire 3-4 minute song. It's just a little part just to get you the main melody of the song. Very cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for that request, Zavolian, for that song. Okay, so I have another request. I've several requests, but let me see if there's any other questions I can touch on first. Okay. Ninja Kid asks, I'm a beginner bassoonist. Do I use a step up? And plus, where do I get the bassoons since bassoons cost a lot? Do I rent or buy? Okay, so Ninja Kid, I have a couple of questions I would ask you. One of them is, are you in a school band program? And is it your teacher that sort of offered or asked you to play bassoon, or are you pursuing this of your own interest? Because that would depend. That would sort of steer my answer. If your teacher is asking you to do it, I would assume a lot of schools, because bassoons are so expensive, as you said, bassoons cost a lot of money. They're sometimes not easy to rent and certainly very expensive to buy. So usually schools, when a school is trying to encourage students to play bassoon, they would have a school-owned instrument that they would let you borrow. Okay? Sometimes they might charge a small maintenance fee. But if you could pop in and answer that question, that would be awesome. I'll just say this. Do I use a step up? So when it comes to bassoons, as far as I'm aware, so when people say step up, they're talking about, with something like a flute or a clarinet or a sax, we have what's called student model instruments, which is a lot of the instruments that I have. My trumpet is a student model. My clarinet is a student model. What it means is it's on the lower end of expense and how much materials and craftsmanship that they put into it, but it's still a solid instrument for a beginner to learn on. Okay, so Ninja Kid says, no, I'm not in school band. Okay, so you're talking about getting a bassoon just on your own. So I would call around. Well, let me stay on my topic of beginner step-up instruments. So you got your beginner flute. Let's say flute. You got your beginner flute. You have a professional flute. The jump from a beginner flute is a beginner flute's probably like around $800 to $1,000. A professional flute 2, 3, 4, 5,000 and up, depending on how much you want to, how high end you want to go. Because anything that's professionals are going to spend a lot of money for the top stuff that they want. Step up is meant as an instrument that kind of bridges the gap between student model, not quite as crazy expensive as a professional model, but it kind of splits the difference there and has some improved features for more expense. That being said, I think for bassoon, I've pretty much only seen student models and then professional. I haven't really seen step-up bassoons. I would recommend, since you're just starting off, that you call around music stores. Just go to Google, search for music stores in your area or within reasonable driving distance, and ask about if they rent bassoons and what they charge. A new student model bassoon, it's very rare you find a used one for sale. Like, there's not a lot of used bassoons on Facebook Marketplace or things like that. And a new student bassoon is like, I don't know, like $3,000, something like that, $25. They're expensive. So I would recommend you try to find a music store that will rent you one. That's my advice. Okay? So, yes, I see your question there. Where do I get a bassoon? So yeah, try that. And certainly, I don't know how old you are. Ninja Kid, I'm going to assume that you're school age of some level. Talk to your parents about it. Have them help you search for local music stores in your area, or like I said, stores that are like within a relatively reasonable driving distance, and you may find one that will rent you a bassoon. I recommend you rent it for a couple months and see how it goes before spending that kind of money. All right, let's see here. Henry, I play alto and tenor sax. It's a soprano sax, the same fingerings as them. Yes, so the cool thing about saxophones, the saxophone family, we call it. Like, every type of instrument has like a family. There's the clarinet family, piccolo, flute, alto flute, bass flute. There's the clarinet family, the E flat clarinet, the B flat clarinet, which is what most people play in band, bass clarinet. Okay, so saxophones, you've got soprano sax, alto sax, tenor sax, baritone sax. The cool thing is all of them are the same exact fingering patterns. They're just in different keys and different ranges. Soprano sax is the highest. It's in B flat key. Alto sax is E flat key. Tenor sax is B flat, an octave lower than the soprano sax. Bari sax is E flat key, an octave lower than alto sax. All the fingerings are exactly the same. Exactly. Okay. Let's see. Good day, sunshine. So, Leonardo, I'm going to take one of your requests here. I'm going to try, see if there's Rocket Man out here on Rocket Man sheet music. Let's see what I get. Kind of in the mood to play that. They have it for piano. They have it for, that's pretty much, looks like that's all they have. Karaoke sheet music. Let's try this. This might work. Intro. It's quiet. I gotta turn it up. Okay, so this one's got the words on it. It's meant for a karaoke track for someone to sing to. It's got a nice piano sound to it. It's got the words. It's got the notes, and it has a little bit of a MIDI flute going on underneath to kind of help the singer. I'm just going to play along here on flute. Here we go. I won't play the whole thing. This is, how long is this? 5 minutes long, but I'll play a bit of it. Here we go. This is for Leonardo. Rocket Man. This song was in our marching band show for our high school band this year. It was a lot of fun. Here we go. Very cool. Yeah, it's a great tune. Also brings back a lot of memories of, like I said, this past marching band season, we played that song. So, great song. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? More questions, your questions and requests. Having a good time today. So, Ninja Kid. Amro Music. Okay. Yeah. Give them a call or, send them an email and inquire. See if they rent bassoons. Mike says, hi, Mike. Mike says I should listen to a band called Mute. Mute. Let's see. What do they play? What kind of music? Ooh. Oh. Look at this. These guys? This looks cool. They're like a quasi marching band with playing sort of like a modern style. Oh, that's a bass saxophone. Bass. Sousaphone. Bass drum. And they all have their microphones on their instruments. That's cool. He's got a... So that's a bass saxophone. It's the one next one. It's an octave lower than a tenor sax. You don't find them too often. That's a bari sax. I like this. Pop. It's that bass line. C, D flat, no, C. So they're in like an F minor. Pop. This is a cool video too. Very cool setting. Is that loud enough? Can you hear that, everybody? Okay, so we're setting up a... Okay. So the groove is just kind of continuing. I wonder if it's going to speed up at all or like change. Whoa, look at that. Let me zoom this ahead a little bit. The Glockenspiel. All right, this is very sort of ambient, ambient sounds, just kind of a mood. So in F minor, I'll show you. You can hear how this melodic is not quite perfectly in tune. Okay. Nice. I'll tell you what. I'm going to pause it right there. That is a super cool band and concept. So, Mike, thank you for that. That's really cool. I'm going to check them out a little bit more. They are called Mute. Yes, melodica. Okay, Zavolian, how do you choose what music to... Oh, this is a good question because very timely question because I'm at the point in the year where I've been thinking a lot, talking to the folks that I work with the marching band and try to come up with an idea for next year. And it's about time to kind of make final decisions. So I'm hoping, my goal is to have a marching show decided by April, really. How do I choose? So for marching band, there's a lot of factors that go into it. You just try to think of a cool concept. For me, I try to think of music that's going to be fun for the students to play, fun for the audience to listen to, and also music that will bring out or complement the talents that we have. We have a very large band and like a lot of talent, but from year to year there might be a particular student on a particular instrument or a particular section that's like particularly strong one year, like maybe the trumpets are really strong one year or the low brass, and you try to pick out music that's going to accentuate that. Same thing for concert band and festival. Speaking of festival, we're taking our wind ensemble, our top concert band, is going to a festival this Thursday, which is going to be a lot of fun. When I'm picking music for concert band, wind ensemble, I try to pick a variety of music, classic stuff, more modern stuff, a mixture of lyrical things with exciting, fast things. We try to get in the important, like I said, the important classics of the style. Like we'll get a good old march in there. Some of the great works, historical works for concert band. Some stuff that's maybe a little bit more, maybe something that's more pop music oriented, just that's kind of fun to play. Yeah, that's kind of how I try to balance it that way. And the same thing, try to bring out particular sections that might be strong from year to year. Henry, how are we doing on time? We're close. This time went by very quickly today. Where can I get a soprano sax? So Henry, similar answer that I gave to Ninja Kid about bassoon. Soprano sax is also an instrument that is expensive to rent. You don't find them commonly in school programs unless there's a school that owns a soprano sax and they want to loan it to a student to play in a particular song. So soprano sax is, and also very similar to the bassoon. I don't know. Well, no, they do have. I have seen intermediate level soprano saxes. A beginner level soprano sax really doesn't exist so much because soprano saxes are not played by beginner band. So most manufacturers will just make kind of like a entry level / intermediate level soprano sax and then to go straight to professional. So you might be able to call around and see if you can rent one. You are more likely to find soprano saxes for sale just out there on different marketplaces, online, because they're just more common than a bassoon. So you just have to do your research. The most important thing as you're Googling and searching and calling music stores is the most important thing is the brand name. It's kind of like, we don't say that to be sort of, what's the word? Elitist or sort of bougie. Like the brand name really does matter. It's not like buying a pair of jeans where you just want the brand name because you want to show off that you have that brand name, right? Brand name is very important for instruments because it's a guarantor of the quality. So what you have to be careful of is if you find an instrument, like if you go on, there we go. See, all right. So, Amazon is fantastic and wonderful. I order a lot of things off of Amazon, in terms of convenience and things you can find. But, there are companies and manufacturers that have figured out that they can build musical instruments extremely cheaply and make them look really nice and sell them for very, very low prices. And then they look great, but when you buy them and you play them, they don't play very well. And the materials that they're made from are so brittle that pieces snap off, things break, and you can't really fix them. Matter of fact, if you bring one of those super cheapo instruments to a repair shop, they'll tell you, I can't do anything with this. It's impossible to repair because the materials are so cheap. So all that saying that you should look for established names, and unfortunately you're going to have to spend a little bit of money. I'd say the least you could spend on a soprano sax would be $600, $700, $800. That's like the absolute least you could spend. But if you're buying a soprano sax, it's going to be around $1,500 to $2,000 probably. Selmer, Yamaha, Jupiter, Eastman is a good one. Cannonball is another sort of one that's been established recently, relatively recently. Okay. I could play Gula. Hey, okay. Oh, Gula. Let me look it up. Gula. All right, sure. Oh, Live in Paris. That's the CD or the album you said you have. Okay. What time is it? 3:54. We are close, but I want to answer some more questions and maybe do another request before I go. Oh, I'm getting bassoon lessons soon. Well, bassoon teachers. Well, do you live near? You don't tell me where you live specifically, but Ninja Kid. But you know, finding a teacher, you want to find someone who. I think online lessons are great. You know, I'm here giving you all an online lesson, but when it comes to private lessons, I really think that in person, when you're getting with a private teacher, I really think I prefer the in person thing for a regular ongoing lessons. So it would depend on who's in your area. You'd want to ask music teachers in your area, but I'm sure there's also bassoon teachers online that you could get a couple lessons from. Let's see, what other questions do I have? Melodica. How do you tune a melodica, Henry? I don't think you can, honestly. And this is an example. Speaking of getting cheap instruments online, I bought this on Amazon, I'm sure. Whoa, I've never seen this button before. I just discovered this button back here. I didn't know it was here. I don't know what it does. Let's see. What does it do? I don't know what it does. It just kind of like lets you blow air and doesn't make a sound. Okay, that's not very exciting. Anyway, you can't really tune a melodica. It just kind of comes the way it comes. I mean, maybe if you unscrewed these screws, you could like look inside and you might be able to adjust the reeds. So before I say you can't tune melodica, let me just say, first of all, I'm not really sure if you can or not. I'd be curious if I unscrewed this, what would happen? Maybe I'll do that. It'd be fun. A fun little video. Oh, Henry, it's the spit drain. Oh, that's crazy. See, I don't play melodica enough to have buildup of condensation, which, by the way, you know, some teachers in books will insist on calling, you know, kids, and the colloquial term for this part of the trumpet is they call it the spit valve. But, and I think it's true, you know, you'll see them called the water key, which is like a nicer way of saying it. And technically, I do explain this to kids, like maybe that this is a what they say, a distinction without a difference, but what is in your instrument is not necessarily, you're not like spitting into your instrument, but it's like when you fog up a mirror, it's the condensation from your breath that builds up in the instrument, which I guess is probably no different than, no, it's different than, see, I'm not a scientist. I don't know if that's different from saliva. If you fog up a mirror, somebody Google that. It's different. It's just the water in the air, right? The moisture in the air. Interesting question. Hello to Isa. Is it Isa? Isa? I remember you. I can't remember which way to say your name. Zavolian. Okay, there's more requests, which are great. I don't know if I'm going to do any more requests today for time. But let me answer a couple more questions and see how it goes here. Which professional flute should I buy on Amazon? So Leonardo, you want to go for the standard brand names? Again, you heard my whole talk about quality based on brand name. Yamaha, Pearl. I think they still make pearls. I'm blanking. What's this one? This is a pearl. The one I play is a pearl. Jupiter. Gemeinhardt. I guess Selmer. Does Selmer have like a... I forget which one is... If Selmer just makes flutes or if they have a subcategory of their flutes. Oh, right. Yes, Mike. It is. Yeah, we did go. We sprung forward today, and I don't know if is that just the United States? That's just a U.S. thing, I guess, because they were talking about changing it in Congress, which I would be in favor of, like just keeping time the same the whole year. But yeah, we sprung forward. So it is an hour further along than we normally would be in our own minds. Isa said, I hate condensation. I wish it was Gatorade. You know, when I was a kid, I ran for student council of my elementary school, like my student council representative. And one of my platform planks of my platform, you know, like politicians have the things that they stand for. Mine was, it's silly, it's dumb. I was going to say, I guess I was joking, I can't remember. I was like, I'm going to replace all the water fountains with, what did I say? I guess it was soda. Like instead of water, the water fountains would dispense soda, which would not be good. Would not be a good thing. But that was my big campaign promise. Mike says they spring forward at the end of the month. Cool. I don't know. I mean, I guess I like the fact that it's the day. It seems like the days are longer. Because now it's, you know, let's see, the past, I don't know what sundown was last week. Let's see if Echo knows. Is Echo? I could ask Siri. I don't have my phone. Let's see. What time is sundown? Echo is what I call my Alexa. What time is sundown? Okay, 7:04. All right. So yeah, it's just nice that like now that's an hour later than it was last week or yesterday. I wish I had a water fountain like that. Yeah, but it just doesn't work in reality, unfortunately. And it's not good for your teeth. I don't drink any sugary sodas, by the way. I gave those up. Not that, you know, I'm advising everyone to do that, but I gave up all sugary sodas just because it's like it's so much sugar. You don't need it. Okay. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road on the trumpet. I don't think I'm going to have time to do any more requests today, everybody. I just want to go back through and see if I have any more questions that I missed. I know, Mike, I saw your request for Beatrice by Joe Henderson. I love that song. If you could come back with that request again and remind me, that would be awesome. Isa said, good point. All right, folks. I'm enjoying my time, as always, with you today, but it is time to go. I'm going to put on this song that Mike requested by this new band that I discovered through Mike, which is kind of cool. That'll be our music on the way out. But we'll be back next Sunday for more live stream time, answer your questions. Thanks everyone for being here, and if you could please like this video, and also please give a thank you to Teresa and Joe, who are here every week, and our good friend Dennis should be back hopefully next time to join us for our live stream, so we're looking forward to that. And until next time, everybody, have a great week, and don't forget to practice. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bring your questions, bring your requests, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.